Okay. The profile of divorce in 19th century Thessalonica. Judaism attitude towards divorce is negative. However, in contrast to Catholicism, according to which divorce is prohibited, in Judaism there was awareness of the fact that even if matches were made in heaven, as it expressed in the Ladino proverb, you say, no, it doesn't, you see? Matrimonio y mortaja del cielo baja, o matrimonio y mortaja del cielo baja, marriage and shroud of heaven come down. O que hermoso es el casar por el Dios, es el mayor placer que el cielo nos dio. And in English, you see. But sometimes accident happened. In Judaism, the woman is married according to her will. However, the woman lives according to her. זה, אל תשים פה. נכון. זה עם הקרביים. Okay. In Judaism, a woman is married according to her will. However, the woman lives according to her will and against her will. And the man doesn't divorce unless it is his will. And in Hebrew, האישה יוצאת לרצונה ושלא לרצונה, והאיש אינו מוציא אלא לרצונו, או כשעשני כרצונו. It's a common assumption that the family unit in the Sephardic Jewish community was strong and that divorce was a rare phenomenon. Avraham Grossman, in his book Pious and Religious, which deals with Jewish women in the medieval period, and Margalit Shiloh, in her book Princess or Prisoner, about the women of Jerusalem in the 19th century, claim that divorce was a common phenomenon. This study is based on the divorce registers that were published in the responsa literature of 4 rabbis who were active in Thessalonica from the middle of the 19th century until the first years of the 20th century. One of the books is the Sha'ar Asher of Rafael Asher Kovo. The other is Tzela Kesef of Gateniu Ben Benisti. Divrei Shmuel of Rafael Shmuel Arditi. Every Rafael is something that was sick and how do you say, adapt to his name, the name Rafael. And the last one is Kochav Yaakov of Yaakov Hanania Kovo. And if you see, it was Rafael Asher Kovo, Yaakov Hanania Kovo. The Kovo family is a lineage of rabbis of Thessalonica and in the Sephardic community in Israel, especially in Jerusalem. Not now. Now they are lawyers and doctors. The study is, okay, I will say. Yeah. The divorce registry is continuous from 1849 until 1906. It's until 1907, but he was very sick, Rabbi Yaakov Kovo, so he didn't wrote a lot of gets. And 1,131 divorces were recorded, not including levirate marriage laws. Despite the availability of the sources, no study had been done on the subject, and the divorce profile has not been researched. In this study, I will examine a number of topics that arise from the data. The reason, one is the reason for the divorce, if listed. Was divorce common phenomenon among all the families, or do we find a number of predestinated families, like a family tainted by divorce has difficult to find an appropriate match since a bad reputation and divorce run in the family? It's something in inheritance. Are there serial divorces, like a serial killers? Do immigrants divorce more frequently than native residents? And the divorce registry is a mirror of changes during the period in question. So we will begin with the divorce. This is one of the how you get the get. It's very interesting. I got a get. I don't remember nothing. Not to go back, not to go down, not the man. But you know, if you are a painter, you can see everything. But if you are in the sun, you don't remember nothing. So, divorce in the Iberian Peninsula. And in the first period after the exile. In the response of Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Sheshet, the Ribash, is told about two women, one married and one divorced. The married woman advised her friend to say that she is married, because if in the house in which they are going to live, there are men who might abuse her if they will know that she is divorced or unattached. The reason for the fear of abuse was rooted in the fact that divorced women, regardless of the circumstances, had a bad reputation. The assumption was that a woman who had tasted relations with a man wanted more. So, like a bee and, how do you say? Miel, honey. The question arises, if a divorced woman's status and reputation were so lowly and debased, why did the sages of the Iberian Peninsula and the 300 years after the expulsion insist on forcing young women who were abducted into questionable marriages to undo the dubious marriages with a get, divorce, and refrain from annulling it even in entire clear cases in which the witnesses lied and later testified that they had lied? You understand me? My English is... So, in this book, in his book, The Order of Betrothal and Marriages, Freiman writes, of all the legal actions in the world, the orders of marriage and divorce requires the utmost clarity and precision in order to dispel and doubt or ambiguity. A clear form for the arrangement of divorce was set forth in the Torah, and he shall write her a bill of divorce and put it in her hand. And the sages enacted a meticulous process for the arrangement of writing and delivering the get. While in marriage there is the possibility of doubtless, there are no dubious divorces. So, first, you see, we have to prevent the divorce. How do the ways to prevent the divorce? The family, the community, the physical authority, and the spiritual authority, Gashmi and Ruchani, were opposed to divorce and did a lot in order to prevent divorce. Divorce preventions begin with the choice of the groom and the bride. As the proverb said, "Quien con suegra con parientes aprieta dientes." So, and in English? No, it's not in English, okay. It's he who was married a relative clenches his teeth. Usually, the girls married young men chosen by her parents, the pretended match being with someone within the family, such as a cousin or uncle. The girls and young men nearly always accepted the marriage arrangement offered them and did not object to it, even if it didn't please them. Marriage between cousins was intended primarily to resolve problems of honor, property, and the integration of the newly bride to the family. the girl will be treated with love and care by her aunt or grandmother, who would eventually be her mother-in-law. In cases of disagreement and divorce, the breakup of the family was not only between the husband and wife, but rather hurt all the members of the extended family. Divorced women with no consistent source of income or a supportive family were a moral threat to the community and in financial burden on the community. The rabbis postponed giving a get as long as possible in order to prevent the phenomenon. The only times that rabbis acted quickly and the get was given in a short time was when the husband converted and there was a fear of the woman of aginut. There are 2 rapid gets because of conversion. In my registers, there are only 2 rapid gets. The issue of conversion was embedded in the historical Jewish Sephardic memory from as early as the 15th century in the Iberian Peninsula, the 16th century Anusim that returned to Judaism, and of course the conversions of the following Shabtai Tzvi, apostate Mashiach. 4 cases in which the groom has an apostate or missing brother, a condition was put into effect 4 cases in which the groom has an apostate or missing brother, a condition was put into effect between the bride and groom at the time of the marriage, so that the bride would not need levirate marriage or the levirate law annulment ceremony. Another way to prevent the divorce was investigation registration of the get. The rabbis recommended domestic peace to couples who wish to get divorced. The idea was that the long time period that passed between the appearance before the rabbinical court and the decision about the get would cool the couples. And as the joke is, maybe she will die, he will die, maybe the rabbi will die, but they postponed everything. Reasons for divorce. Despite the investigations that were undertaken regarding the candidate for marriage at times after the wedding, defects had been well hidden, were revealed. Girls who didn't menstruate or whose menstruation lasted all the months, in both cases there is no possibility of the girl for conceiving. A number of the divorces were granted when the woman was sickly, and 2 of the divorces even shed light on the woman's illness and the effort, time, and financial means that were invested in medical treatment in vain. The questions that arise are if it should be permitted for a man to marry a second wife. Rabbeinu Gershon ban wasn't valid in Sephardic diaspora, with the exception of a section in the Ketubah that permits marriage to a second wife if the first wife agrees, and if not, she was to receive a get, her Ketubah sum, and her dowry. In many cases, it was discovered after the wedding that the man or the woman was epileptic. Others were revealed to be compulsive and immoral gamblers who used their wife as playing cards. Despite the husband's obligation to love and honor his wife, many times they found that the man's love was of his wife's possession and of her body, and when the woman became old or sick, the man tried to get out of paying for the medical expenses and her burial through divorce, as the proverbs say. This is from Spanish Morocco. El hermano quiere a la hermana y el marido a la mujer sana. So only the first family is the love and embedded. Women who refused to divorce were subjected to various pressures on the part of the husband, his relative, and his friends, until she will give the get. From a picture full of coins to blackmail, slander, and abandoning her with no means of support. They left the woman for a long period at the mercy of their families, who harassed the rejected bride, and even spread slanderous rumors about her in order to get out of paying alimony and the sum of the ketubah. However, the community's concern for the woman's good name and the morality of the community, and the fear that the support of the woman and the children would fall on the community, burdened the rabbis with difficulties. And indeed, in the 19th century, Rabbi Chaim Palachi from Izmir sounded the alarm about the high incidence of divorce and of attempts by men to sully their wife's reputation, even at the cost of hurting their children. בהיותו נשוי בבת תלמיד חכם, דלא יבקש טענה ותואנה במסעות שווא ומדוחים כדי לגרשה שלא כדין ושלא כהלכה. And indeed, only in a small number of divorces was reason for divorce listed as a bad reputation or adultery and prostitution. A working girl that refused to receive the get until her husband will return her pearl necklace that was a part of her dowry. And I mean prostitution, not adultery. Out of 1,131 gets, only 19 note that the woman was divorced because of a bad reputation, Shem Ra, and only 2 explicitly mention adultery and prostitution. So you can look at the table. Between 1850 and 1875, there were 313 divorces were registered. The average was about 13 divorces per year. In Tel HaKesef, it was 54 divorces, average 16 divorces each year. Between here, Divrei Shmuel, between 1879 and 1887, there were 197 divorces. The average was 22 per year. You see, we can see how the rage is upcoming. And in the time of Rabbi Yaakov Kovo, 1888 until 1906, you see, he was writing all the time gets. Divorce and immigration. According to the table, we see a rise in the number of divorces from 1850 until 1906. It should also be mentioned that the rabbis accelerated the issuing of gets in the last year of their lives. And the reason for this may be an understanding that lives are short, and that the efforts to bring the couple to compromise had failed, or that they were interested in cleaning the desk and not leaving the next rabbi all the legal matters involved in divorce. You see, in the last year, it's acceleration. Demography. The divorces between 1850 and 1888 were mostly within the city. Between 1887 and 1906, there was a demographic rise in the number of residents in Thessaloniki, with the influx from small communities in Greece or in the area of Thessaloniki to the city, and immigration of Jews fleeing the pogroms of 1882 in Russia and of 1904 from Kishinev. Following the stabilization of the political and economic situation in the Ottoman Empire, we are witness to the rise in the number of divorces in which the man or the woman is in the different city, divorce on transmission, by transmission. One get is of the husband from Kurdistan, and I'll skip it. There is a rise in the number of divorces of Ashkenazi Jews. Indeed, in Thessaloniki there had been only a small number of Ashkenazi Jews for many generations. However, at the end of the 19th century, especially after the 1882 pogroms and the Kishinev pogroms, we are witness to a rise of the number of Ashkenazi divorces in Thessaloniki, while some of the immigrants were like Tzvi Hirsch, it's the same name, and Leah Goldstein, who immigrated to Egypt. They born in Russia, immigrated to Egypt, and later to Istanbul. Leah was in Thessaloniki, and the get was sent to her husband in Constantinople. So I don't have a lot of time. I thought that 2,500 words are 20 minutes, but I don't know what happened. I can tell you about one divorce of a very wealthy Ashkenazi family. Was the divorce of Anita Leventner, née Goldberg, and her husband, Dr. Leventner. I found it in the newspaper. And what is special in this divorce is that the good doctor didn't want to pay to his wife, not a dowry, nor the ketubah. And the rabbis went to the Ottoman government, and the Ottoman government placed a lien on the doctor's assets in the Ottoman Bank in Thessaloniki, at Lions Credit in Constantinople, and in other places. And I have to say something about serial divorces. I found one woman. She was the Elizabeth Taylor of her time. She divorced 4 times from 4 separate husbands. I don't know what was her charm, beside her family and her assets. But it's not, how do you say, how can you say it in the 8th of March? It was not her charm. She was from the family of Carasso, that were after this were the Danone, and Emmanuel Carasso, that was part of he was the legal counselor of the Young Turk. So they were a family. So I don't have time to tell you about names and divorce, but I want to, in a minute, Boaz, and I will finish. Very seldom we meet the people we are researching. I interviewed a family from Thessaloniki here in Israel, and the man I was interviewing told me that his grandmother, Bolisa Capuano, was divorced with 3 children, and his father was born after the divorce. And she was the only divorced woman he knew in the whole Thessalonican community in all Israel, 15,000 people. She was the only one. I found her in the divorce registers. Her real name was Esther Mercada Capuano. She was a curadora, as a curing specialist or healer, and she died in Israel when she was 90 years old. They gave me her picture. So, summary. It appears that at the end of the 19th century, Rabbi Yaakov Kovo, in contrast to his predecessors, didn't find it difficult to deal with the winds of modernization in his city. And he was a lighter touch with divorces than his the source. It appears that in the modern period, the large number of divorces, in contrast to the past, contributed to the tranquility and the status of the community inwardly and outwardly towards the Ottoman rule. Modernization in education and in the economy, immigration trends to new economic centers such as Egypt, Suez Canal, Alexandria, Cairo, and Europe, caused many couples to break up the family unit and seek their future outside of the community. Thank you.